my friends are overdosing. All my favorite venues closing, and I can't win. One step forward, two steps back. Been a year, been I lost track, and I see no end.
Here we go. Welcome to the Solo and Doc podcast. I'm Dr. Kenny, and I'm here with the one and only, the great Michael Lynch. And on this podcast, we talk a lot of shit. We also tell a lot of straight truths about addiction, about recovery, and about success. And I throw a little science in now and then. Anyway, today we have a special guest. Actually, the guest we have today is not that special. In fact, it was kind of rammed down our throats. Yeah. Michael and I started this podcast about a month ago, and we had a couple of knuckleheads who were sitting on the couch just watching. Because
they were homeless outside. Yeah. And we invited them in out of the kindness of our hearts, yes.
Now they become a permanent fixture on background characters. The
peanut gallery.
The peanut gallery. Permanent fixture in the show.
I'm going to remember this.
And last week, we interviewed Eric Leonetti from Philadelphia. This week, we're going to interview she's an enchantress. She's a seductress. She's a dope shooter. She's a criminal. And she is perhaps the single most annoying person I've met in 15 years.
Yes. I've done my job.
I swear to God, her laugh could take down the Kraken.
I'm going to end up being a Chanel West Coast.
The one and only Dre Ramirez.
Yeah. Hi, thank you for having me. What kind words, Kenny?
Yeah, well, it's the best I could do. Those were kind.
That's okay, I'm used to it.
So, Dre, you guys saw last week that, interestingly enough, Dre just spit on Eric. So there was that out of the blue. So Dre, we've both known you for a little bit, and you're definitely one of the most interesting people that I know. You actually are. You're. It's kind of odd. You're an odd character because you're like too good looking to be as funny as you are. You're like too funny to be as smart as you are, and you're like too smart to be as good looking as you are. And that's true. That's really who you are.
Did you rehearse
the trifecta?
Trifecta. It's true.
Oh,
so how do you know us? How do you know Doc and I?
All right, so I was introduced to this whole crowd basically through you.
Doc and me.
That was
grammar.
So my journey with everything here started about 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Almost exactly. I was introduced to you in a meeting space, and I learned about your facility, stairways and stuff, but I was in a different facility at the time.
Actually, if I remember correctly, I remember you sliding in and out of my tattoo shop because you were like banging one of the tattoo artists.
Yes, sir.
I think is how it went. That's the real story. But that wasn't about recovery. All right.
We tell truth on this show.
True.
Right?
But it's a good thing because that's kind of how I was bamboozled into the.
I was seeking recovery.
Yeah.
Please.
And I slowly kind of integrated into your community and stuff like that.
Into the cult.
Into
the cult.
It's the best thing on earth. I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm all in. And I've been on this journey, sticking around with you and the community that you've built for the last 8 years. And eventually down the line, the well was poisoned with this asshole. But we accepted him anyways because
just barely.
Just barely. He's a doctor. He could provide me something,
We get free medical care from him.
Bad medical advice.
Bad medical advice.
And then met him a couple years ago, and also met Eric over here, and they've been an interesting addition to the community, but I'll just leave it at interesting.
So you're an addict, right?
Correct.
All right.
A bona fide junkie.
Hey, before we go any further, forgive me, Michael.
Okay.
Everybody wants to know, how much did you pay for those?
No cost to me.
Wow.
Shocking. Wait, shocking.
This
Wait a
just
minute,
got-
I'm so shocked. I've never heard of a woman that's gotten a boob job and she didn't pay for them.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Actually, I got them through Michael's Connect. Michael's got
It
a
is
Connect
true.
for
I have the boob.
Yeah, he has a boob Connect.
I do. I have the boob doctor connect.
Yeah.
But just to be
That's
clear,
not
Michael
surprising.
didn't pay for the boob.
No.
Just to be clear here.
He was
There's
just
a
the
sucker
connection.
born every minute, but I'm not the sucker.
He was a middleman. We'll say he was a middleman.
I'm the middleman for the sucker that bought your boobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't a sucker.
Well, now that we got that cleared up, we can move on with the show.
Actually, I like where you're going with this. Who cares about her journey of
This is
success
gonna
and
be an
recovery?
hour talking about my
but-
boobs. All right,
So,
Kenny.
so
That's on par.
do
for
you
him.
do you feel like you worked him for those boobs?
No,
Okay.
no, I was in a committed relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
How
soon-
long after
as soon
did you
as
get
this-
the boobs? Were you not committed anymore?
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as they healed up, she was gone.
No, it was like another year and a half. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In addict,
they were
you know
a
what? In
gift.
addict terms, a year and a half of a relationship's like 20 years
That's
for everyone
long-term.
else.
Yeah,
I've
for
received,
sure.
Yeah, that's a
I've
long-term
received
relationship.
gifts from men throughout my
What'd you
life.
say?
Like you've gifted your girlfriend gifts, right? It's a gift. It's a gift.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
gift
that's
of
what
my
men
humor,
do.
the gift of my opinions.
yes.
Listen, if you're women,
Yeah.
if you're looking for a real man, that's what a man does. In my opinion, a real man provides. Period.
Okay, so I agree 100% with what you're saying, but here's the problem: is I don't think that a man. I don't think a man is a man if they meet a woman and they know that they can only keep her if they pay her in one form or another.
Yeah, but that's
call it
different.
providing
that's
or call
like
it something
that's
else.
like a trick. There's a
Correct,
difference. There's
correct.
a difference between a trick and like a real man that
What
provides.
is that?
What is that?
Yeah, what's the difference?
I mean, it's
If they're
basic-
good looking or not. That's
The
what the
diff-
fucking.
No.
That's what the difference is.
Yeah,
the
just cut the
difference-
shit, Ray.
The difference is the woman. What is the woman's intentions? You know what I mean?
Like how?
Because if a woman's intentions are to just get something from a guy or whatever, then he's
Yeah.
a trick. If a woman's intention is to love and also be a nurturer in a relationship and stuff like that and provide kind of, you know,
The emotional and nurturing side of the relationship is something.
yeah, there's a difference
agree
between a
with that.
real relationship and like a, you know,
Have you ever
transactional.
tricked dudes?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the real definition of the word, yeah, I've
Okay,
used
cool.
men in my addiction. In my addiction.
Okay.
I have used men for things, yeah.
Do you think, you know what's fun?
She's used men like me.
Like you, yes. Not men like me. I was actually sending I was sending girls like her to men like you to get me paid. It's really what was going down back in the day.
I mean, no, if you really know my story, though, you know that I was not very good at it. I would have been, I wouldn't have
Because
been
you didn't have the
dope
right
sick
man
as
in your
much
life.
as I was.
You
And
didn't have the right man in your life showing you how to make money, girl.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. I mean, thank God.
Just
dude.
taking advantage.
Thank God
I know,
I
thank
didn't.
God, I know. You'd have went to places you never
Yeah,
would have
yeah,
thought
yeah.
you would have went, and you would have thought it was your idea.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So you know what I've
Oh.
noticed about you, like men, you're like a homie. You know, you're like a girl homie.
Very much.
She is, and it's very rare. But I wonder, because I know, do you believe that you get along with guys better than girls?
I used to.
Because you like watch football, you're like huge football fanatic, even though
Yeah.
you choose a shitty team. You have you really are like a guy's guy, and like talking to you, like I can clown with you, like
Yeah.
I do my homies, and you're not offended.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's because that's kind of how I, you know, I mean, that's how I was like in my teenage years.
Yeah.
I'm,
Do you
to a
think these
certain
guys are really your friends? This is what I'm asking. Do you think guys are really your friends?
Some, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Name your 3 closest guys in your life today.
that would be Eric, probably Rich, and you.
Not Cam or none of them.
Cam, yeah. Cam. You said 3, so I gave you 3.
Oh, 3. Do you
yeah.
think?
So
do you
4,
think,
yeah, Cam.
Do you think that if you said to any of these guys, "Fuck me," that they wouldn't?
Some maybe yeah, and some maybe no.
It is a good question. So hold on, Eric. Honestly, would you fuck her? So we have a liar. I'm gonna call Cam. Hold on. I'm gonna call. He's full of shit.
This has been derailed. What is
Okay.
happening?
I'm gonna randomly call Cam. Actually, well, let's call Rich right now.
I'd like to phone a friend.
Hold on, I just got to ask him one question.
One's in a committed relationship.
He's gonna lie too. Yeah.
No, he won't. Not if I'm calling him on the phone. All right, he's not answering. Let me call. Hold on, let me call Cam. I'm gonna put on speaker. Hold on. Let's see what he says.
He's probably still sleeping.
Come on, Cam.
It's only noon.
Yeah.
Your call has been forwarded to voice.
So here's the thing: is I wonder when you say, "Would a guy fuck you?" And I think a lot of girls think they wouldn't. And I would always say to a girl, I'd be like, you know what? Get on your phone right now and your best friends and just say.
I'm not in denial about
Okay.
it. I think that.
But I think what it comes down to isn't does that not make them your friend or not. I think that makes it where. I think a lot of people be like, oh, if they would fuck me, they're not my friend. That's not true. I don't think that's true.
No, I think that where
Michael, would you?
I would. See, I tell the truth.
But okay, but here's the thing.
Oh, that's a perfect example. But I know I'm her friend,
Yeah.
and I would be able to be.
Well, here's the thing. This
Hold
is
on,
where
our
you
pro- our- our produ-
hold on.
okay,
This is where you differentiate the friendship and this is what I've learned by befriending a lot of men.
Yeah.
A lot, you know what I mean? Because I am kind of like one of the dudes, you know.
I gotta be clear. Hold on. If I wasn't in a relationship, which I'm not,
You gave your answer.
okay.
You gave your
Okay.
answer.
Trying to
but
justify.
where the friendship differentiates is basically where like if a guy eventually isn't gonna get in my pants, if that's kind of like you know what I mean? Like I've encountered a lot of men in my life where they're like, you know, yeah, we're friends, and like
They're just
they
waiting.
try to get it,
Well, they're waiting for
and when they
position.
realize they're not gonna get it, all of a sudden they're a different person to me.
They were never your friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's where
So
I've
that's
learned to
different.
differentiate
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
whole life is like if eventually I don't put out or give them something,
Don't you
and
pick
they
that up
disappear,
on the
well,
vibe
fuck
from
'em.
the? You don't pick that up on the vibe from the gate though.
Oh yeah, I do.
I was gonna say I know
A lot
I
of
know.
the times, yeah.
Like I always know when a girl is attracted to me when I first meet them.
Yeah.
And you don't know like if you've been friends with somebody if it changes over from friendship to attraction. That's the part you don't really know sometimes. But what I think you always know is like when I meet a woman, I can tell if she's attracted to me or not from the gate.
Yeah.
And it's got to be
Yeah.
easier for women,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. I know. You're asking the wrong guy. But our producer's been trying to get a word in the background.
I would love to hear her
Yeah,
opinion.
no.
And our producer. Would you fuck her? Yeah. I don't know why I didn't ask that.
Actually, no, wouldn't.
Oh,
But I love you so much. I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
damn, that was a way of shooting you down. Did you see that? I like your personality.
I love this question because that's a huge worry. Even like with being a lesbian, I still have this idea in the back of my head of like this guy. I think this guy would want to fuck me.
Yeah.
Or that he thinks he could change me.
Uh-huh.
So like that's a good question. Of can a straight woman have a genuine friendship with another straight man and it not have any weird?
I can tell you honestly, I've had friendships. I've had situations where I have had sex with a girl and we became friends after having sex and never did it again. I've had women that I was friends with and we ended up hooking up and a couple times or something like that and we were able to be friends. I've also had it where I was friends with someone, hooked up, got in a relationship, and then later we're friends again. I think it comes down to, honestly, I think the man and if he actually ever was your friend.
Yeah.
But not only that, but I'm going to just put it out there. How many people, and this is what I think, I don't think a lot of people are capable of being friends. If we really want the core of cores. I think that most people are so fucked off that they don't even know how to be a friend, let alone something so complicated to have sex and still be friends and all that different shit.
But what my thing is like what I think I.
Doc's married over here. He ain't saying shit. He's like, I fuck this one up.
Don't ask me. Please don't ask.
I think
He's like, I was a virgin before I met my wife. Good answer, Doc.
Yeah, let's just get on to the next subject.
I mean, that's believable.
Oh, please. I was slaying him.
Oh, I thought we were shit talking. I'm
I
sorry.
was slaying him.
That's good.
I was tripping over it. Dre Ramirez.
I think though what it is, I think that like but that's what I've encountered a lot in life though is like men that think that have conditional relationships with me.
Correct.
I find that time and time again, more so in my addiction. Because I tend to not hang out with those types of people anymore. I only keep friends close to me that I know are genuine friends. Whereas before, I needed men that wanted a conditional relationship so I could string them on and get whatever the hell I needed at the time. I was sick. You know what I mean? And and conditional friendships were all I had. If I knew a man wanted to have more with me, well, then I knew that I could get more from him.
Correct.
Transactional, and I don't keep people like that in my circle anymore. You know what I mean? If I feel like a man is only befriending me and being nice to me because at the end of the day he wants something, I don't keep that around. Or at a distance, you know what I mean?
I so agree with what you said. I feel that way I'm not even a hot chick, but it was like, yet. No. No, but it's like life was that way. It was like people were in my life and it was all so transactional, and that's a good point. I don't have one person in my life that it's transactional with anymore. God seems to cut them out pretty quickly, which is nice. Yeah. So anyway, you'll get gangbanged by everybody and still be friends. That's it. Moral of the story here.
Everybody who's watching this is Googling her right now.
I should come out of retirement from the porn industry.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right.
All right, back to seriousness.
Back to something recovery related. No, one point I'll make though is that I think one of the reasons I've said it before, the friendships that with people in this room right now and some others, the friendships I've made in recovery are without question the best friendships I've ever had in my whole life. And I think in part, the reason is that by the time you wind up in a community like ours, you don't have a lot to bargain with. You don't have a lot to trade. You know what I mean? Nobody's walking in. Nobody walks in. Are you kidding me, Michael Lynch? Who walks into Stairway? Who pulls in a lot in a Mercedes? Nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody's riding a bus or a druggy buggy, right?
I say that a
you
lot.
Have nothing.
I say that a lot to a lot of the newcomers that come in, and I'm sure I hurt their feelings, but I'll tell them, you ain't got shit I want. Yeah. Tell me one thing you got that I fucking want. Nothing. And it's like, I say that because when I came in, I remember when I came in, it was after felony fights and porn and all this shit. And I had like a lot of leeches, parasites, leeches, sharks around me. And I came in, I'm broke with $3. I'm in the ghetto. And all these people like Bruno and all them were like helping me. And Cam's calling. Here, Cam is calling back. So shh. Hold on a second, buddy. Hey, Cam, how are you?
Hey, did you call?
Yeah, are you alone?
Yeah.
All right. So, I know you're an honest guy, so yes or no, just yes or no. If you were single and Dre called you and wanted to fuck you, would you fuck her?
I'm going to be honest with you. That's really the only reason why I hang out with her.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much, bud. Have a good day.
Oh,
now I know where I stand.
I love it.
Cam's hilarious.
He's the best.
I would have expected nothing less from him, though, honestly.
Enough about Dre's tits and her sexual prowess and the way she's manipulated
this is turning into a
unfortunate
whole
men in
hour
the
of
past.
just
Yeah, I know.
all I have to offer is some sex appeal. Wow.
Let's talk about something important.
Yeah.
Michael, you were getting into her history and how
so
she
I
came
wanted
to
to,
Stairway.
you know what's interesting, what I've always found interesting, and you, like, Doc and you, your guys' pasts are so much different than mine, right?
100%.
And do you have childhood trauma?
No.
Okay, per se.
I
We don't
mean-
know what big T's and little T's are on the trauma, but you don't have any sexual trauma, any of the other stuff. Mom and dad were together until they were divorced.
I was a planned pregnancy. Like, my parents wanted me. They were married and owned a home.
I was
they
planned
tried
pregnancy too. They didn't pull out and they were both loaded. Their actions was planned.
But you know what I mean? Like, I had structure already set up from birth. My mom tried 3 times to have me.
And
know
you
what
were
I mean?
like a good life. You had you were a childhood actress, right?
Yeah, I dipped a little bit into the acting.
What was
that? So, basically it started off with just me going like, Mom, I'm gonna be an actor, And my mom is a type like you. She's a go-getter. And she was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know. How do you become an actor?
No idea.
You know? And she was like, fuck it, I'll figure it out. So she became kind of like my momager, you know what I mean? And we were just literally just dipping our toes in trying to figure out how the fuck do you do this, you know? And it started off with, you know, doing like student films, you know, for universities and stuff like that when people are doing film school. And that was interesting. Like I ended up doing a student film for this is a young girl in college, and she went on to become an Oscar winner for a director, you know? And so I really had like some interesting things that happened to me and I obviously didn't make it big. You're not gonna go IMDb me and be like, wow, she was in this, that. I did a lot of extra work, but I was in the union. So, I mean, I joined SAG when I was like 10 years old or something, you know? And like, just tidbit things, commercials, you know, TV shows. And when everybody asks me too, like, what did you do? I'm like, they're all kid shit. You're not gonna, did you watch the Disney Channel? You know?
It's just so interesting because ultimately we all ended up in this room in the same place, broken from our addiction, hopeless. And it's interesting because I think a lot of people with addiction, and I was definitely one of them, have misconceptions about who an addict is and what qualifies you to be an addict. And a lot of times I think it's, we think, you know, it's all the trauma and we're self-medicating and that's why that we're doing this and, you know, and all of that. And then you have you.
I've struggled with that when I hear things about people talking about how addiction stems from childhood trauma and stuff like that, you know, you hear that a lot, and that's one thing that I've never been able to like relate with. Like, I believe because of the way that I was raised and because of the like how I turned up to be, I think that addiction is just like innate. It's something that you either have or you don't.
A gene.
You know? Yeah.
A gene.
And it's
That's
very.
what I think,
it's
too.
if when I do my family tree, it's so prevalent. It's so prevalent where it comes from.
Do you know about that, Doc?
My parents had children. Each of my parents had a child with their previous marriage before they, met each other, and so they each have a daughter from their first marriage, and then they got together and had me. And it's funny because I have an addict sister and I have a non-addict sister, and on that side where I have an addict sister, I also have a alcoholic grandfather, severe alcohol, died from his alcoholism. You know what I mean? It's just it's obvious, to me.
Yeah, no, I think that. There's not a gene that we know of that causes anybody to be an addict or an alcoholic. There's not a gene, but there's undeniably a genetic influence. It's been studied for years now. They've even done identical twin studies, high concordance rates between identical twins who were separated at birth.
And what happened with that? Showing that addiction was in both of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In a large percentage, but then there's always the thing about studying genetics. I think anyway, and a lot of people would agree, is that like if I say, yeah, my father was an alcoholic, right, and my aunt was a drunk, and my grandparents were drunks, and my uncle was a drunk, and all his kids were drunks, and then I come into that family, it's easy to just look at the family and say, obviously it runs in the blood. But if I'm raised in that drunk environment for another 20 years, there's a huge environmental impact as well. So teasing out the genetics versus, what do they say?
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah,
nature,
right.
yeah.
It's hard to do. I think there's definitely a genetic influence. But what I would say is, and this is just from my own personal experience, I think there's also a genetic influence to just how we respond to drugs in general.
Yeah,
How so?
That's what I think.
Well,
yeah.
here's what if you look at my mom, I always love using my mom as the counter example to me.
Correct.
Because my family they're so fucking confused by all
Your
this.
mom is so fucking sweet.
Right.
I don't know how you came
She's
from
sweet.
her.
No, I know. No, she's sweet. She's kind, good Christian
Super
woman.
fucking
Practices what she preaches. Never sinned in her life. I mean, she's just an amazing woman. I
Yes,
remember
she is.
it was about 15 years ago. She had a open gallbladder removal. So they have big abdominal wound, very painful. She's about 65 years old at the time. And she's on the couch recovering in clear pain. She's like, doing all this kind of stuff. And they sent her home with some oxys, right, for the pain. And I remember,
Nice.
and well, not initially, no. But I remember saying, I was actually clean at the time, but I remember saying, Mom, why don't, you want me to get you something for the pain? She said, yeah, there's some Tylenol in the thing. And I said, why don't I get you the good? I was confused. Why don't I get you the good stuff? And I'll never forget. She said, "Oh, Kenny, I don't like the way those make me feel.
That's a big difference. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
got to be a
Yes,
genetic
for sure.
influence.
Yeah,
Right?
for
There's
sure.
there's a difference
For sure.
because I sure like
I
the
love
way
the
they
way
make.
it-
I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
the
I
way
love
they
the way
make
it makes me feel.
More than anything.
Yeah, I have that switch in my brain that like as soon as something's in me, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
like more, you know?
It's
100%.
So genetics is a huge part of it, but there are. I actually think it's extremely complex. I do. I've read a lot of literature, psychology literature, basic science literature. There's a pretty good understanding of some of the key components that go, biologically speaking, they go into addiction. And what differentiates a guy like me, you give me a drink, you've seen it.
Yes.
Give me one drink, what happens, Michael?
You're crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
You see
Off
my
to the
alter ego.
races.
The world is introduced to my alter
Yeah.
ego, right?
Yeah.
But how many other people don't have that response? How many other people don't even like it that much? How many other people see having a social drink with their boss or their peers as a burden?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll sip just to make it look good, but I don't like the way it makes me feel. Are you fucking
I know. That's
crazy?
Wild.
Yeah. That's that person.
So that comes down to genetics, those differences. How I could just, it's the number one, it's probably the greatest love I'll ever have in my life.
100%.
And there are other people who just have no use for it.
That's mind blowing.
There's no other explanation than genetics.
Yeah. So for you, you ended up. So when did you start your addiction?
So, you know, it kind of, I mean, okay, so hold on. Leading up to my addiction, though, in addition to having a good home, whatever, you know, I was a good kid, though, too.
You weren't a hoe.
No, I was up until, listen, it was like a light switch. I was a good kid.
And that's not chauvinistic. I was a hoe. I'm just putting it out there.
Listen, we'll get to that point, but I was, you know.
We're there right now, Dre.
I'm talking about like until because everything
Fast forward.
happened it was just so black and white. It was like, you know what I mean? It just happened overnight. It was like,
Wow, it
I
wasn't
was
a progression.
No, I was in sports. I was in choir in high school. You know what I mean? Like I had good grades because in order to act, you have to get a work permit in order. So you have to have like a certain GPA. Like I was a good kid. And,
That's why you're smart.
I mean, I had a good upbringing. I had a really good. My mom taught me with my paychecks from acting and stuff like that. We invested. I was investing in the stock market at 13 years old. I'm not even kidding. And you know, like so. What happened was I decided I wanted to take a break. You know, I had a couple of good things right there in the end in terms of acting. I did a reality TV show. And I did like a national Motorola commercial. You know, and I was like, you know. I think when you're like 15, 16 years old, you know, Hollywood wants 18-year-olds to play teenagers because they don't have work limits, whatever. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a couple of years of a break and I'm going to be like a kid, you know?
That's actually surprising to hear that they want adults in Hollywood doing the kid parts because lately I've been noticing they want to diddle all the children. So you think that they want them younger. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh. Anyways.
Yeah, they have, because there's no limit to the time you can work when you're 18. You don't need a guardian on set. You don't need a set teacher. So that's just like, that's always been the norm, you know? And so I was like, I'll just take a couple years break. When I'm 18, I'll go back at it and I'm going to be great. I'm going to become a star. Cool. And, you know, in the midst of all this too, I was about 15 years old and my parents divorced. And, it was a long divorce. It was like living under the same roof for an entire year while the divorce took a year.
It was like messy.
To a certain extent. It wasn't like chaotic in the home, but it was very uncomfortable.
But it affected you, evidently, internally.
The eventual split did. So what happened was after that year, you know, they could finally, because you got to separate the finances and stuff like that. Nobody could buy a home when you're in the middle of a divorce. So they have to kind of live together. And then eventually my dad buys a house about a mile down the street from my mom, you know? And so they live close. And now I have 2 homes, 2 bedrooms, you know, 2 of everything, 2 cars. So at 15, so I get my license. Yeah, so when I get my license.
I had to steal all my cars at the beginning. Those are my first cars.
But this is what I'm saying. The upbringing is so different, you know? And so here I am at 16 years old with a license, parents divorced, they hate each other, you know?
Did you work each side?
Yes.
Of course.
That's where the manipulation started.
Okay.
Oh my God, I manipulated the shit out of it because they hated each other so much and I would like I would use that. I'd get in trouble with my mom. She'd take my car keys and I'd walk. There was a mile down the road. I could walk. I'd leave the house, walk to my dad's. And there was no custody thing. They were like, the judge was like, she's old enough. She can pick where she wants to go.
Got it.
So I just walked down the street to my dad's house. Mom is being such a bitch. Can you believe she took my car keys? And I'd just pray on that. And he'd be like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. She's so hard on you here. And I just had this freedom, you know what I mean? And I think also too that they emotionally, what they were going through, they were very detached. They had also already raised a drug addict teenager, my sister.
And how'd she turn out?
Drug addict for life, still out there.
Well, I'm a drug addict for life, but I'm in recovery.
No. She's
active.
That's somebody that's in denial of their addiction.
Okay,
So,
okay.
But they had messy teenage years with her. I mean, cops always at the house, running away. That was the norm.
And you were like the good one.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I think that when maybe they started to notice that I was, doing things.
And what were you doing? What were the things?
I mean, come on. I was like staying out late. I'm sure they smelled alcohol on me.
So that's what it started with, alcohol?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant.
I was a raging alcoholic. And I think that because it was the divorce, all this shit, they kind of turned a blind eye. They were kind of like, if we don't see it, it's not happening. And I just flew under the radar, totally under the radar. And
or also the comparison. When you have your sister that's so off, and you might be a little bit, it doesn't seem as big of a deal when you have a bigger deal going on.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I was good at hiding it because I learned from my sister too.
Got it.
What not to do. You know what I mean? And like I said, it was so easy with two parents in two different houses. I mean, like they're not keeping track of where's house. You know what I mean? So I'm staying out late, whatever.
So then what happened? You progressed in the drugs?
Yeah.
To what?
I mean, and it happened fast. Like I was a heavy drinker, binge drinker in high school, and I remember I talked so much shit about weed. I'd be like to my friends, like, oh my God, I can't believe you smoke weed. How lame, that. And I remember one night I took my first puff, and I kid you not, within that week, I was doing my first line of cocaine. So that's what I'm saying. Like it just.
But it's not a gateway drug.
Right.
Not at all.
Dude, like just prime example of just I was just off to the fucking races. And
So
then,
cocaine,
and
then
then
what?
I'm doing meth. And
Meth.
Then,
So yours went alcohol, weed, cocaine, meth.
Yeah. And
And
then
when you started doing meth, never back to cocaine, right?
I never. Well, meth was probably my longest run of a substance.
And then what?
And then and then we started mixing in the party drugs like ecstasy and stuff. I'm doing ecstasy, and then eventually heroin.
There you go.
Yeah, eventually heroin.
Were you shooting heroin?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Anywhere I could get it.
So you went from some good girl, that girl that was acting, would she have ever thought she'd be shoving a needle full of heroin into her body?
Oh no, I was singing.
What would you have thought of that person?
Oh, dude, it was just not plausible. It was not. As a child, I had one goal and one goal only, and it was to be an actress, a famous actress, and that's all I imagined.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I didn't. Drug addiction was such a after school special to me growing up. Like I didn't. You hear people talking about it, but I had no example of it really in my life. My parents didn't smoke. They were like,
You two relate right here.
Oh, I totally get it. No, it's an after school special. It was. I remember, in fact, even being in Pittsburgh when I was in graduate school, driving across the bridge on the south side of Pittsburgh and looking at people like under the bridge with needles and stuff and judging the fuck out of them. Look at this bum. Look at this degenerate. And then 15 years later, I'm over in East Liberty, right, in the projects, sitting on a couch with two Mexican guys. I don't know their names. I don't know who these guys are. At 3 o'clock in the morning, passing a pipe back and forth. I still got my fucking white coat on from work, sitting there, staring at a ceiling, staring at the television, watching like fucking QVC. You know what I mean?
Still leaving, going over the bridge, judging the people under the bridge
crazy. And
until
then
you were in the homeless shelter.
And then when I was in shelter in 2018, it struck me. I'm laying in the shelter.
Right,
It did.
the VIN is when it struck me.
No, I get it. I'm like, how did this happen?
Listen,
Are you
saw a
shitting
child
me?
driving by judging the fuck out of you, and you're like, oh, fuck, what happened?
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's happened.
Wow.
I mean,
It's
it was
happened.
like junkie. You do drugs and you're a fucking junkie on the street.
How long were you out there using like that?
Huh?
How long were you out there using like that?
What, like needles and stuff like
No,
that?
just
Or
like full blown, just going at it. You know
at
what
least. Oh shit! I mean, like I said, it's from the moment I started, it just never stopped.
How
you
long?
know? So I started using drugs at like 15, 16 years old, and I got clean at I think 31.
I mean? Wow.
So and about
15
10
years.
of those years on and off, I was like technically homeless.
No one would have looked at your life
No
when you were a
mailing
child
address.
and thought that that's where you're going to go. If you looked at my life when I was a kid, you would automatically assume that's where I'm going.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't
And
that
it's like I chose it because I could have had everything. I mean, my
Ooh,
parents.
did you choose it? See, this is
Oh
where
no! I didn't choose addiction.
Okay.
In a sense, but like in other words, like I had the option of like going far in life. My parents would have paid for college.
See,
and,
right,
you know?
right there is such a good point. Is I think there's so many people that are still so ignorant in our society, and they look at us and they say, "You chose to do this life," and you know what the difference is? And I always say this to somebody. I said, "Have you ever?" And I'll ask any normie, any person that's sitting there passing their judgment. They're like, "You chose to do drugs," and I'll ask them, in high school, did you ever smoke a joint?
Yeah.
Did you ever, on the weekend, snort a line of cocaine? And when they honestly nod, and I say, "And what happened?"
Yeah.
And they said, "I stopped." And I said, "Well, we don't have the same convenience." That's the only difference between
To
me
be
and you.
fair, I had the option to take that first hit. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't.
But you didn't
either.
know where it was going to go.
Oh no,
No,
I
of
didn't.
course not.
That's what I'm saying. Like
We
there's-
never talk about that.
We never know the
never know
price.
where this is
the
going.
last choice that I had was taking that first one. And
That's
then
it.
I didn't have a choice anymore.
Boom.
I didn't have a choice. I
Boom.
had to have it.
Boom.
And like nobody wants from where I came from, nobody wants to be homeless, dope sick in jail, all these places, overdosing in countless hospitals. Like nobody wants that life. I took a hit and I had no choice. This is where my life was gonna go.
No, I hear this all the time, and I don't. It doesn't anger me actually. I understand the perspective, but people, I see it on Facebook all the time. I see it, hear it all the time when people say, "Well, you know, I was an alcoholic and I just stopped. I used to use drugs and I just stopped." Well,
you weren't.
we are different. No, that is not what. Look, that is not what we're talking about. Certainly not in this fucking podcast. What I'm talking about, if you can just stop, we are not talking about the same thing. What I'm talking about is, tell those people, here's what I'm talking about. Silly example. Take your cell phone and forget it at home for a day. What's the only thing on your mind all day long? My fucking cell phone. That is the way we live, only it's 100 times more intense.
1,000
right?
times.
1,000 times more intense.
Yeah.
So when my wife calls and says the girls need picked up, that is all I'm thinking.
I'm not going to hit you over the head to
right.
get my cell phone. I'm going to hit you over the head to get my
to get my
drugs.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a whole different animal.
I mean,
Right.
you're in a
Well, you might,
completely
but not
different
everyone.
headspace. You are not in tune with reality because the drugs, like, you know what I mean? The drugs like change the chemical, balance in your head. Like all you can think about is that next one.
And then what happened with you to try to get clean the first times?
So I never really had like an intention to get clean. I'll be 100% honest. My journey
Same.
of recovery
Same.
did not start with wanting to get clean.
Same.
I was homeless. I had nowhere to go. I was sick of just popping here, popping there, waking up dope sick every day, getting arrested, and I was, I basically was hit up one day by an ex-boyfriend who was like, "Oh, I care about you and I want you to get clean. You need to get clean. I'll buy you an insurance policy and I'll get you into treatment." And I had so many like ultimatums too. Like imagine me. I'm like squatting in a house in Sun Valley at this point. There's like
course you have
men
ultimatums.
fighting.
You have demands.
We're sharing needles. Like, and I was in a house full of men. Surprise, surprise. I needed shelter.
They were your friends. They were all your friends.
They were all your friends. Close, caring,
They were
loving,
close, caring,
compassionate
loving
friends.
And here we
Just
are
like
too.
the guy that called her.
And here we are too. I've looked back at my text messages from that time, or like messages too, and I'm like warding them off. Like I'm like, oh my God, like I got to get out of here now. Like they really think this, and I can't. I don't want to. Ew. And somebody hit me up, and he said, "I care about you. I want you to get it clean." Blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, here's the deal. I'll go, but I don't want to be sick, so I need to be on subs. You know what I mean?
What are subs?
Suboxone. Well, I didn't.
Another narcotic.
I wanted.
I want to get off narcotics, but I need a narcotic.
Yeah.
Keep me on this narcotic to get me off this other narcotic.
Well, because my intentions weren't to stay or to stay on Suboxone. I wanted to go back out and rip and run. But I was offered a home in Malibu, my own room, my own bathroom.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like a private room in a Malibu facility.
And you had no idea about this shady ass industry at the time.
No. But here's the deal. I caught on. Like, so I was.
What did you catch on?
Okay, so like I said, I was bought this insurance policy, whatever. And
just to be clear here, that's fraud. We're going down a gambit right here. I love that you're going to
Here,
talk
I'll
about
get to the punchline. I was body broker.
Body broker.
Here we go.
That's
I was
right.
body broker.
Yep.
But unbeknownst to me in the beginning.
Which happens all too often.
I didn't know
people.
anything about treatment. I didn't know anything. I had never heard of a sober living or, you know what I mean?
Do you want to define body brokering since we're bringing it out? Do you know what? So body brokering can have so many forms, and it's human trafficking is what it is. And I'm glad that we're talking about this subject because it happens all too often, and it happens to us addicts all too often because we are one of the most vulnerable in this society, and it attracts these fucking vultures that take advantage of our people. And a lot of people that do know or have heard of body brokering, because there's so many different degrees of it, from like the most heinous where, and I've seen it, I've seen it, where they're paying a drug addict that's in their active addiction with drugs to continue to use to put them into detox, and they stay a certain amount of time and they get paid a certain amount of money, and then they get out, and the same person that body brokers them gets them high again and keeps them high for a certain amount of days to where they can get authorization again on that same insurance policy.
To readmit and keep running.
And what happens is this is all too prevalent, and our people are dying in the meantime. And they're dying in the meantime in between those detoxes. And they're like thinking, and the crazy thing is you have a vulnerable addict and you're fucking offering drugs to somebody in their addiction. They're gonna say yes.
They're
and
all
then,
gonna say yes.
And some money. They're like, shit, where can I get that, right? And this happens, and then you have a lot of people, there's that form, and then you have other forms where even the addict, the person, the patient doesn't even know that they're getting body brokered, such as you. Like you have these horrible body broker guys, and they prey on their girlfriends, their friends, homeless people, all these, and they say, do you want help right now? I'm gonna save you. I care so much about you. I'm gonna fly you out to Malibu. Look at this house, and I'm gonna help you. And they do fraud on your name and your social, and they do fraud and buy these insurance policies from places that you're not even from, and they're fraudulent, and they don't hold any liability because it's all on you. They're putting it all on you, and you're the one doing fraud, and you're never even seen it, never talked to it.
That's how I started catching on, though. I got a letter from the fraud department from, it was an insurance policy from Pennsylvania.
And you never even been to Pennsylvania in your life.
But I mean, there was little signs that let me catch on in the beginning. You know what I mean? I would see, you go to your doctor's appointment, and I'd see like the paperwork from the different patients, and there'd be the same policy, boom, 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 boom. And I knew these people. I fucking lived with them in the treatment center, and none of them were from Pennsylvania.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
And so it's like, it was one of those things where once I was in, and I was never offered money because I didn't know anything about this. Trust me, I would have swindled money out of it if I knew.
That's why you hold the resentment. You're like, this motherfucker didn't even pay me.
But I mean, but like, honestly, I would have worked it to my advantage, you know?
And who wouldn't in that vulnerable state?
Exactly.
That's right.
Who wouldn't?
Because here's the thing too. Remember, I said I had no intentions of getting clean.
You want to know how you know who's at fault? It's these treatment center owners that, and you know what they think? Here's what's crazy. Just like your boyfriend that did it to you. See, your boyfriend played a part, a huge part, as a matter of fact. But all of these body brokers are actually addicts themselves. And these treatment center owners, they say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get these addicts to prey on their own people while I make money. Some are going to die in the meantime, but the profits will keep coming in.
Yeah. And you want to be a marketer?
A marketer,
You want to be that's what they were.
I know.
They had
Marketing.
business cards saying marketer, and they were just addicts like me. You know what I mean?
Taking advantage and hurting our own people.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And, so obviously, I caught on, to what was going on, and I used it to my advantage at times. I would threaten,
You're threatened?
Oh, I would threaten them. you better give me this, this, and that, or
Oh,
I'm
you
going to the
threatened
fucking, California Public Health Department right now. But you know what happened? Like then, like it does end. It does end. The shit that catches up to you. The insurance policy, company says like, wait a minute, return our money, and guess what happens? They give you the fucking boot.
Yeah, you're
They don't give a
homeless
fuck.
with an
They're not
addiction.
helping you transition. They're not like, hey, let's get you some Medi-Cal and put you in a, they're just like, and they made up the dumbest excuse for me too. They said, because during my time at that place, because I did end up moving on to like sober living, doing outpatient. And during the course of that, I made the decision for myself to take myself off of Matt. I wanted to get off the subs. And that was torture. I'll never do that again. And so when the time came that they, the jig was up and they were going to kick me out, their reasoning was that I gave a dirty test. And I said, what was I dirty for? And they said Suboxone. And I said, if I was going to get loaded in your house, it would not be off Suboxone.
And they're the ones pushing Suboxone.
You guys provided me that the first 3 months I was fucking here.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You allowed me and provided and gave to me Suboxone.
Well, they push Suboxone. They want everyone loaded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I took myself off, and you're going to tell me that I pissed dirty for, get the fuck out of here. But and that, boom, I was out in the street. But luckily, I had met you by then. And, I had met Jesse, and I I had a sponsor. I had a sponsor at this point, thank God. I wasn't doing fucking staff. I wasn't doing the program, but I had somebody that I called my sponsor.
Yep.
And I fucking was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like at this point, I had a little bit of taste, and I still didn't know if I wanted to stay clean. But you know what I wanted? I wanted a fucking roof over my head. I was so fucking sick and tired of trying to find shelter day after day after day. And now I've had my own room, my own bed. I'm like, I'm craving this. I want this stability. I wanted the stability. I didn't give a fuck about the drug shit. Like, I can get high later.
So you made the call to where?
So I made a call to my sponsor at the time. I made a call to Jesse, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she says, well, you're in luck. We're about to open a women's house in 1 week. Can you wait a week? And I was like, I'll see. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. And she was like, well, this is what it costs, and da-da-da-da-da. And, like I said, this was about 6 months. 5-6 months in. So I've got about 5-6 months under my belt. And out of just desperation, I called my mom and I said, check it out. And she was the type that when I was in detox, I called her and I said, Mom, this is great. I'm in rehab. And she goes, yeah, fucking right. I go, what do you mean? She goes, the last time you told me that you were in rehab, you were in Las Vegas. And I said, Mom, I was at the rehab at Hard Rock. That's a different thing. So she didn't believe me. She was not on board. She was like, yeah, I've heard this shit before. That you're done, whatever. So I called my mom with about 5 months and I go, Mom, please. I go, listen, there's this place that I can go. I can't stay at this place that I'm at anymore. And there's this place I can go, but it costs money and I don't have money. And at this point too, I'm going to school for medical assisting. Yep. So I'm going to school full time. Yep. I'm going to outpatient part time. Yep. I mean, I'm with no car. Yep. I'm taking multiple buses across the San Fernando Valley every day to go to medical assisting
2 hours
school.
one way.
Yeah. And so I'm busting my ass and I beg my mom and I'm like, please, what can you do? Can you help me? If I said, can I, this is a lot to ask, but if I ask my dad to cover half too, like, would you cover half? And she said, if your dad covers half, I'll cover half. And I'm like, fuck. The hard call was my dad. You know what I mean? My dad didn't want anything to do with me and my addiction. I would call to wish him happy birthday. He'd fucking reject the call, wouldn't answer my text messages. I mean, he was like, and so here I am calling my dad. I got to convince him that I'm, going to do good or whatever. And I did. And they both were just like, all right, but we're not giving the money to you. We're going to let me speak to the owner. I'm going to hand the money to the owner. And they did. They wrote a check out, I think, to you or to the, whatever, every month. And that's where I found a new way of life. I was in a recovery home that said, do the 12 steps or get the fuck out. And
you're a horrible client. I just got to put that out
there.
I just have to put that out there.
I've heard.
Oh, I came in super ungrateful.
Yeah.
I was a brat. I was ungrateful.
You're still a brat.
Hated it. Yeah. No, but you didn't see. He didn't fucking
Dre
see.
has changed
Don't let him.
so much. All she would do is run her mouth and she would talk so much shit on me, on Stairway, on everyone, on the other women.
It's
She
so
was always
funny.
in conflict.
It's so funny because these two have no clue. And it's
No
so
clue.
great that I have somebody that
clue.
can speak the truth
No
as to
clue.
how I was.
I couldn't stand her.
Yeah.
And this is where it's.
Oh, Michael kicked me out at one point.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I called. And Travis saved
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I did get
Yeah.
kicked out for
Yeah.
behavior too. I didn't even get loaded.
I know, that's the craziest part.
Well, I did get
she didn't get loaded. She was doing all this stuff, but holy shit, dude. She would like talk the most shit out of anyone and just mad shit. And it was like, holy crap.
I was so angry at myself, and I didn't
She was,
see it
and I
at the
couldn't
time.
stand
I
her.
didn't see it
But
at
I'd
the
help
time.
her anyway.
Yeah.
And
You help everybody.
Dude, the only thing that got me through was just people willing to love me through
That's
my
right.
hate.
But
That's
so
right.
I relate to you so much on that though, because when I came in, I was so angry and I was such an asshole. And I thank God for those that could see through it and loved me anyway. And that's why love is not a feeling. Like I loved you anyway. I couldn't stand your ass, but I helped you anyway.
Yeah.
There's love. Love is an action, not a feeling, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, but now it's like, look at today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You weren't fighting. You weren't mad at anyone. You were mad at you.
Yeah,
That's the
and I
problem.
didn't know that at the time.
Exactly.
Obviously, my anger was at myself, but I would project it anywhere I could, any way I could, you know? But thank God, you know, the one thing, I did all the things wrong. I did all the
No, you
things
didn't.
wrong,
You didn't
but
get
I
loaded.
didn't fucking get loaded.
You didn't get loaded. And that's the only thing you got to do right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's hard, dude, because
Yeah.
I'm one, you know, they take it one day at a time. Like, I was the type of person that in the beginning when I'm taking those buses every day and here's the thing too. I got clean in the same city
Yeah.
or the same, you know what I mean? The same
Yeah.
area that I was getting loaded. So I would be,
kudos.
I remember taking the bus and at every stop, I would, you know, like the main intersection or whatever, I'd be like, I can get dope there. I get dope there. And so when I tell people the story, I'm like, I was taking it one bus stop at a time. I'd be like, I'm going to get off there and I'm going to go da-da-da. And then the stop would come and I'd be like, okay,
Where
the
was
next one.
the shift when you came in and you didn't even want to get clean? When did the shift happen where you decided, you know what, I'm going to actually try this?
It was
you
such
know?
a slow roll. It was such a slow roll. It was like, because I was so negative, hated myself, so angry at myself that in my head, like you guys being clean and having this great life and, you know, having faith and hope and just everything turns out all right. I was like, that's not going to happen for me. You don't know what I'm up against. Da 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 da. You know.
I relate to that. Yeah.
You know, like what? Oh, that's great that you can, you know, move out and get an apartment. Like, how the fuck am I going to do that? My parents are paying my rent at Silver Living. You know, like that's great for you, but what? You know, and I'm glad that everything happened so slowly for me that I had to earn that things didn't just happen. I was in your Sober Living for 2 years. It's a long time. And
You earned every single thing you have today.
yeah.
And I've watched your whole journey. There's not one thing you've manipulated, worked, besides the boobs. I'm just joking.
She does work for me now, so she's earned that.
We don't judge her on that. So you can make some bad decisions. That's her newest bad decision. But, you know.
But everything was a slow roll. Such a slow roll. I didn't have things just handed to me or just blessed to me in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even have a license. I had not had a license in like over 10 years when I came in. And I had to do all of a sudden now, I had to like, this is a DUI that's like 12 years old now. And I still have to like now do the DUI classes. You know?
And how long do you have clean?
I have about 7.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time. You got a whole different life. Yeah. You know what's crazy is that these guys don't know, but if everyone would have known how you were before, it's night and day because you're actually known today as being literally one of the most kindest people.
Oh,
That's what you're known for.
People don't even know.
They have no idea.
They don't even know.
They have no idea.
There's the select few that I've seen, you know what I mean, that got to see me when I came in and see the fucking savage. I was feral. I love using the word feral because I was a feral fucking cat, dude. Just angry.
Oh, God, I wish I could have seen it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to say something, though. You were saying how you're grateful that it took a little time to do all this. Now that I have a little time and my life also is starting to accelerate, I realize a lot of things. time is necessary. I think one of the most difficult parts of recovery, being honest is kind of challenging at times, showing compassion, showing love to others, being selfless, all the things we talk about. I think the most difficult part is just time. It doesn't happen overnight. I always made the mistake. Here's how I would get, I went to treatment 19 times and a million detoxes and da-da-da. And every time I left, I always had this idea of like, oh, I just need to get this life going again.
Yep.
I need to get her. I need to get the career, whatever. Never realizing that just because I was feeling good had nothing. I wasn't good. Yeah. And then it was only a little challenge that it took, smallest of emotional challenges, and I would be spun out in a fucking motel in Burbank, calling him at 2 a.m. But now that I've given it not just consistency, not just persistence, not just step work and everything we're taught, but actual time. Be
But
patient.
how is it that you get, what is the trick? What do you think the trick is to this time being able to be patient, knowing my tomorrow's going to be better than my today? Or buying into it and saying, I'm going to finally do this when you couldn't before. What is it? What do you think it is? I think it's God.
Well, it is.
The seed was planted.
I think
There's a
the
seed
thing
planted.
is once we do God, once we start doing the God piece, I honestly, for me personally, I think that is the trick. Like the only way that I had a shift like you did where I was like, I wasn't doing none of this stupid shit. And I was like, I wasn't interested at all. And then the God piece, when that came into play, that's where I started having faith in God instead of this future that my mind, it tells me is fucked. You know?
Well, I started having faith, quite frankly. I remember the first morning the first sober breath I drew over in the West Hills detox. I was laying in bed again, right? Staring at the fucking drop ceiling, counting watermarks, going, how did this happen? And I just had this moment. It was very calming, but I just realized I'm just going to trust in the men and women around me this time. I'm not going to push back at all. I'm not going to try to charge into life. I'm not going to try to fix all kinds of shit. I'm just going to do exactly what I am told to do or what is suggested. Yeah. So Bruno, first thing he said, I want you doing a gratitude list every morning. I thought those were the stupidest fucking things. I was always embarrassed to even talk about gratitude. I started doing it every morning.
Now you always say
call me every morning. Do step work. You said 5 minutes a day. Even if it's 5 minutes, do it every single day. Show up, maintain your commitments, blah, 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 blah. And I just gave it time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rush. I'm going to be happy with today. And then suddenly doors start to open.
That's
suddenly I get a
everyone's
medical
story.
license dropped in the mail. All these things. He gives a job. Yeah, no, there's a patient moment. That demanded patience. I'm
Yeah, for
fucking
sure.
washing dishes.
Listen,
by hand.
And all you have to do is give it some time, and you will see undeniable miracles.
No
we are
doubt.
so fucking lucky
So I
that we
think-
get to watch miracles happen all around us every day. Like, you have to have faith.
Correct. And I think the only way that I was incapable of giving it time because I get impatient. I'm not getting the results that I think I should get. And so I try to fix it every time in and time out. And there had to be a power more powerful than what I think. It only could be God.
Yeah.
It could only be God. That's my only explanation is how is it that somebody's telling me, bro, just fucking sit there and somehow this shit's gonna work out. And I'm like, what the fuck you talking about?
Yeah.
My life's fucked.
But for me, it comes back to the community piece. I mean, I'm not saying God is like
God is to
at
the
the
people.
highest level. But let's be honest, Michael. God doesn't whisper in my ear.
Yeah.
He's never descended from the
He
heavens.
sends his
and spoke.
people.
He doesn't drop a business plan in my fucking lap, right? But what I do believe is he says, lean into Michael, lean into Bruno, lean into all these people. What are you looking at, dude? I have dropped you in this community of men and women who have done this before. Why are you resisting that? Be patient, take suggestions, and be consistent.
Well, I think that God shows himself to us every day in these mirrors. I mean, look, I am a bona fide intravenous drug user, heroin junkie, you know what I mean? That didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to toss it out of. And now, all I did was just lean into lean into my community, lean into a program, and I leaned into like the suggestion of others around me who had more clean time than me. And I'm living on the beach in Hermosa Beach now.
And you partly own the home.
Yeah, dude, yeah. I'm in an HOA. What the fuck? I am in an HOA. What? That doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And I am...
And you've done a lot of dope shit, dude, because you're like certified. You know how to do like the transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Yeah.
You were like doing that shit. You were doing like
medical
billing.
assisting. I was working in oncology.
Yeah.
I was assisting. I've assisted in like, biopsies, bone marrow biopsies. Like
Oh, you stuck a needle in someone's hip?
I was trusted with the keys to the chemotherapy cabinet. Those drugs are expensive as fuck. Let me tell you now. Dude, like from having.
So then you stepped down. And
So you stepped down to
with
work
this
for Eric
degenerate.
Leonetti.
Yeah, that was
That was a suggestion by me. It was probably a bad call.
No, but the timepiece can't be overstated. And that's why places like Stairway are so invaluable. I never could have done it. Because even with God, even if God was whispering in my ear, if it was just me,
Yeah.
come on, be honest,
sure.
Michael. You would have walked away. You would have said,
Yeah.
I got one more hustle in me.
100%.
I got another move, another scheme, another
the people.
grand idea.
Yep.
It was the people. It was
the
guys like
people.
Bruno,
Yep.
guys like
Yep.
everybody
100%.
grabbing your shirt collar and saying,
Yep.
whoa, 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 whoa.
But I think that's the proof of God is because I've had a lot of people in my life, throughout my life, all different kinds of people, and nobody honestly ever inspired me to do anything I don't believe should be done. Yeah. And here we come across and you're telling me these outlandish things that you want me to do, and somehow this crazy future is going to be in front. That's illogical.
Right.
Only God could send the people that I would hear, not and be like, that's wild, but I'm just going to do what they say.
That's right.
Only God could do that.
Yeah.
Only God can do that. It's true. It's the community.
Yeah, the community showed me like how to live again. You know what I mean? Like I didn't imagine what fun was without substances.
Yeah.
And I was introduced to that by the community. Like,
That's a
hey,
good
we're gonna
point.
go laser tagging. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? And
No, but we
I
do
would
dope
do
shit.
it.
We go out to the lake. We go on the boat.
Yeah, but in the beginning,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like fellowshipping at the bowling alley. And I mean, this was back when I was in an angry place. Like, I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Oh,
bowling?
yeah.
I was
I hated
punching arcade machines down in that bowling alley. I was going, give me the keys to
I'm
the
paying
van. I'm gonna go-"
thousands of dollars out of my own personal
Yeah.
pocket
Oh, I
for
know.
these guys to all go bowling,
Yeah.
and then they're complaining about it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
But listen, it was like the repetition. It was the
Only
time.
addicts.
Only addicts.
It was the time and the sticking around. And
Yeah.
by the end of it, I was, what was I? I was planning the
That's the
bowling
funniest
alley's
part.
events.
You were talking all the shit on all the shit that were made, and she ends up becoming the person that's organizing all of our events.
Being homeless, organizing homeless events.
And I love.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I love that. I love that because these are things that I was so opposed to in the beginning, and slowly it grew on me, and slowly I realized, oh my God, like this is what fun, being clean. You know, this is what sober fun looks
Yeah,
like.
talk about that. How you help organize the homeless drive
So,
and stuff that we do.
you know, obviously it's like it comes down to like what you're helping provide for the community, and like the community has expanded, and therefore the events and stuff get bigger and bigger, and you know what, like I just love doing that so much, and it was like if this needs to keep going on, and they need somebody to kind of like spearhead it, I was like all in. I was like, you mean somebody's gonna pay for us to go bowling? Because at the end there, I was planning the bowling nights again when we had moved the meeting, and
Now you help us with the homeless drive. And the whole,
then I was blessed. I was blessed with this community outreach, this homeless outreach thing that got started, and it's been years now.
It's been years.
It's been like over 3 years that we've been doing it. We do it quarterly,
Yeah.
and this is, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought
You were
that,
homeless, and now you help the homeless.
and who would have thought the feeling that I get from it? Oh my God. There's just no better. It's like, it just fills me with like love and gratitude. And even just saying this, like these words coming out of my mouth wants me to like, I want to puke because like, it just sounds so like, you know, it sounds unreal. You know, if I heard somebody else say this a few years ago, I'd have been like, get the fuck out of here. You know, oh, you're so, and you know, and it's not this type of thing where we're going on like on YouTube and going, hey sir, filming myself, here's a sandwich, are you hungry?
Yeah.
No, we're doing this out of a place of wanting to help, not for the recognition. And that's what's so beautiful about it. And we get help from the community. We ask for, hey, can people donate? And people are dropping off clothes. They're buying stuff off the
Cutting
Amazon
hair.
wish list. It's just like
Cutting
even if-
hair, giving out Narcan.
So, but even if people can't
food.
be there for the physical being of it, dude, they're going on Amazon and buying things. My mom will buy things off the Amazon. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like this huge community that comes together to just like give back, meet people at where they're at. You know what I mean? And genuinely help them. You know? I mean, there's just nothing more special about that. I love it. I love it.
Awesome. Well, the one and only Dre Ramirez, member of our family, member of the crew here at Solo and Doc. It was great having you on the show. We look forward to seeing you sitting on the couch over there next to Eric as we continue to launch forward.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. This was cool.
It was our pleasure. So that's it for Solo and Doc this week. Feel free to follow us on all social media platforms at Solo and Doc.
And tune in. We're going to have some crazy, amazing guests coming up. And right now we're ramping it up. And we just wanted to introduce everybody to the key players that are in this room. And tune in. You guys will see some cool stuff.